lecture in computer from Kalpana Chawla, Government Polytechnic for Women, Ambala City. Today I am here to give a lecture on motherboard, buses and boards. And the first topic in this is bus. First of all, what is a bus? A bus is a set of physical connections, or we can also say a cables or a set of physical connections on the printed circuit boards, and these buses can be shared by multiple hardware components in order to communicate with one another. What are the characteristics of a bus? A bus is characterized by the amount of information that can be transmitted at once, and this amount of information is expressed in the form of bits per second, or Mbps, megabits per second, Gbps, gigabits per second, and this capacity depends upon the width of a bus, frequency and transfer speed of a bus. First of all, what is the width? Width is used to refer to the number of bits that a bus can transmit at once. Means it is the number of bits that can be transferred by the bus at once. We can say if bus is able to transfer 8 bits at once, then we will say the width of the bus is 8, and if bus is able to transfer 32 bits at once, then we say the width of the bus is 32. Next is the frequency. The number of data packets sent or received per second is called the frequency of the bus. And next is the transfer speed. Transfer speed can be calculated by multiplying the width of a bus and the frequency, or we can calculate the transfer speed like this. Say the width of a bus is 16 and it transfers its frequency is 3 megahertz. Then what will be its transfer speed? Its transfer speed will be 16 into 3 megahertz, or transfer speed is width multiplied by the frequency. In this way we can calculate the transfer speed of a bus. Next is the address bus. Address bus transports memory addresses which the processor wants to access in order to read or write the data. And the addresses buses, they are unidirectional buses. We can say that they transfer the addresses only in one direction, that is from processor to the memory, or the address which has been generated by the processor and to read or write something into the memory, that is transferred on the address bus. Next, the data bus. Data bus transfers instructions coming from or going to the processor, and data bus is a bidirectional bus. Data bus can also transfer the data or the instructions which are coming from the processor or going to the processor. Next one is the control bus. Control bus, these are also called command bus, and these are having a total control over the system, or the control bus transports orders and synchronization signals coming from the control unit, and these signals, they are traveled to all other hardware components. It is a bidirectional bus, as it also transmits the response signals from the hardware. How this control bus is bidirectional? First, it transmits the control signal from processor to all the hardware signals, and then in the another direction it transmits the response signals from the hardware devices to the control unit, whether the devices are ready or they are held by the other devices. So the signal is sent by the response signal is sent from the device to the processor, and in one direction control signal from the processor to the hardware device. So the control bus is also a bidirectional bus, or we can say the address bus is the only bus which is the unidirectional bus, and it transmits the addresses from processor to the memory, the address from which the data or instruction is to be read or write. ठीक है, is to be written or write. Next one, the buses on a motherboard, they are of generally two types, the internal bus and the expansion bus. Internal bus, it is also sometimes called the front side bus or FCB. Internal bus allows the processor to communicate with the system's central memory. And what is the central memory? That is the RAM or the random access memory. Next, the expansion bus. These are also called the input-output bus. Expansion bus allows various motherboard components. The various motherboard components like USB, serial and parallel ports, card inserted in the PCI connectors, hard drives, CD drives, CD read-write drives, DVD drives, floppy drives to communicate with one another. It is mainly used to add new devices using what are called the expansion slots connected to the input-output bus. Or in short, we can say that internal bus is used internally over the motherboard to communicate the processor with the system's central memory, and expansion bus, as said, input output bus is used to communicate with all other hardware devices, USB, serial and parallel ports, hard drives, CD drives, CD read write drives, etc. Next is the expansion bus. Expansion bus, sometimes these are also called the peripheral buses, and are buses that have connectors that allow you to add expansion cards, or we can say peripherals, to a computer. Peripherals like hard disk, CD drive, CD read write drive, DVD drive, etc. There are different types of standard internal buses that are characterized by their shape, the number of connector pins, the types of signals. Means the expansion buses are of various types like ISA bus, EISA bus, and these are characterized by their shape, the number of connector pins, and the type of signals like frequency or their data transmission capacity. All these characterize the expansion buses. Next is the ISA bus. The original version of the ISA bus appeared in 1981 with PCXT, was an 8-bit bus with a clock speed of 4.77 MHz. ISA bus, also called as the industry standard architecture, and firstly it appeared in the personal computers extended technology, and it was 8-bit bus, and the clock speed on which ISA bus was operating was a 4.77 MHz. The structure of 8-bit ISA connector has been shown. You can see it, 8-bit ISA connector, and after the 8-bit ISA, the bit was expanded into a 16-bit bus and a clock speed of from 6 to 8 megahertz, and finally 8.33 megahertz. It was called 16-bit ISA connector or 16-bit ISA bus. The structure of the 16-bit ISA connector has been shown in the screen at the bottom of the screen. ISA bus permitted bus mastering. Bus mastering means it enabled controllers connected directly to the bus to communicate directly with other peripherals without going through the processor, and the defined form of bus mastering is the DMA, like the direct memory access. Next bus is the EISA bus. EISA, it is also called the extended industry standard architecture, and it was developed in the 1988. The EISA bus used connectors that were the same size as the ISA connector, but with 4 rows of contacts instead of 2 for 32-bit addressing. The EISA connectors were deeper, and the additional rows of contacts were placed below the rows of ISA contacts. It is possible to plug an ISA expansion board into an EISA connector. However, they did not plug as deep into connector and thus only used the top rows of ISA contacts. We can say the EISA connectors were deeper and the additional rows of contacts were placed below the rows of ISA contacts. If we plug an ISA device, then we can plug it and it will be used as a ISA bus. Next is the PCI bus. The PCI bus, also called as the Peripheral Component Interconnect. It was developed by Intel on 22nd June 1992. It is an intermediate bus located between the processor bus and the input-output bus. PCI bus runs in parallel interface. We can say what is the parallel interface? When the bits are transmitted parallelly, or we can understand the difference between the serial and the parallel interface. In serial interface, suppose we want to transmit 8 bits, then a single line is needed and a sequence of 8 bits is transmitted over bit by bit. But in the parallel interface, 8 lines are required and each bit is transmitted parallelly. The PCI interface exists in 32 bits with a 124 pin connector, or in 64 bits with a 188 pin connector. There are also two signaling voltage levels for the PCI bus, 3.3 volt for laptop computers and 5 volt for the desktop computers. After the PCI bus, the next bus developed was the PCI Express bus or Peripheral Component Interconnect Express. It is written as PCIe or 3GIO, third generation input output bus. It is an interconnect bus that allows you to add expansion boards to a computer, and it was developed in July 2002. PCI Express bus runs in serial interface. You are well aware about the serial interface. As I explained earlier, in serial interface, if we have to transfer the 8 bits, then those 8 bits, they are transferred over a single line bit by bit as a sequence of 8 bits. PCI Express connectors are not compatible with the older PCI connectors. They vary in size and require less electricity, or we can say that PCI Express bus is not compatible with the older PCI bus. The PCI Express bus is hot pluggable. Hot pluggable means we can attach any device or remove any device from the PCI Express bus without turning off the computer or restarting the computer. So we can say that PCI Express bus is hot pluggable. And the PCI Express bus comes in various forms like 1X, 4X, 8X and 16X. The PCI Express 1X connector has 36 pins and is intended for high bandwidth input-output use. And the PCI Express 4X connector has 64 pins and is intended to be used on the servers. Next is the PCI Express 8X connector. These 8X connectors, they are having 98 pins and they are intended to be used on servers. Next is the PCI Express 16X connector. These are having 164 pins, is 89 mm long and is intended to be used on the graphics port, as a lot of data has to be transmitted on the graphics port. So the PCI Express 16X connector is used on the graphics port. Next is the SCSI interface, and we call it as a SCSI interface. SCSI interface. The SCSI standard is an interface used to connect several different types of peripherals to a computer via a card known as the SCSI adapter, or it is also called as the SCSI controller. The number of peripherals that can be connected to the SCSI adapter or SCSI controller depends on the width of the SCSI bus. If say the width of the SCSI bus is 8 bit, then 8 physical units can be connected, and if the width of the SCSI bus is 16, then 16 bit 16 devices can be connected, or we can say the devices connected are equal to the width of a SCSI or SCSI bus. Since now we are also having in addition to this, since the SCSI controller represents a separate physical unit itself, or SCSI controller itself represents a separate physical unit. So in actual the devices or the connected to a bus or a bus can accommodate the devices one less than the width of a bus. If the width of the bus is say 8, then how much devices it can accommodate? It can accommodate only 7 devices, as 8th one is the SCSI controller itself. It also represents a separate physical unit itself. And if the width of a bus is say 16, then it can connect, or it can be used to connect 15 peripherals, as I have said that one peripheral less than the width of a bus.